Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fantastic turnout, and we're really pleased with the encouragement and the enthusiasm that's been shown for the project and the opportunity. What we want to achieve this morning is for you to get a better understanding about the project in its broad terms, the scale of the opportunity, and also to find out what you might need to do as local businesses in terms of getting yourselves competitive and fit to compete and bid for this sort of work. So that's the plan, and once we've finished speaking, there will be an opportunity to have further discussions on the tables. We're going to make sure that we've got representatives available to you so that you can hopefully have all your questions answered. We want to make sure that no one goes away from here without having an opportunity to discuss it with somebody. So please take that opportunity, and I hope that it's a worthwhile morning for you. Right. To start with, a brief introduction to the Cymoedd project. I suppose the best way to describe it is it's a flagship project. It was part of a programme that the Welsh Assembly government put together back in the mid-90s originally. And we bid for the opportunity along with many other developers. And what I think makes this project unique is that it can actually be delivered within the next few years. It's not something that's got to wait for a grid connection for many years, which is the case in other parts of Wales. So it's an opportunity for an early win in terms of renewable energy, but it's also an opportunity for us to try and establish a Welsh-based supply chain as much as we possibly can. The project, broadly speaking, lies between Aberdare on the east side and Neath on the west, in Forestry Commission land on the plateau just south of the Heads of the Valleys Road, hence the name Cymoedd. We're the developer, Nuon Renewables. We are owned by a Swedish utility called Vattenfall. It's a publicly owned utility. And our commitment really right from the start of this programme and this whole project has been to try and maximise local benefits, either by creating jobs through local supply chain or by community benefit and that sort of thing. And really that's been at the heart of the way we've sought this. The way we see it is that we are utilising a locally occurring resource, the wind, and we need to give back to the community, the wider community and the local community as much as we possibly can in lieu of that use of resource, and that's always been our approach. So if we move on to what we want to get from today as Nuon, we want to get a better understanding of the businesses that are in the area that could help us with this. We need to know what information you need, and we're making a start today, but we've asked for feedback from you to make sure that we can tune things and change things if we need to. How best to communicate with you. We'll have a programme and you'll be clear on what that programme is going forward, but if we need to change it to better suit your needs, we will do so. And then from your perspective, we want you to understand about the opportunity in the project, about the standards and the criteria that might be required, and some of the other speakers will go into that in a bit more detail, and an opportunity to meet us and understand where we go from this point in time. In broad terms, the overall opportunity breaks down into five main contract areas. And some of you may be in a position to take up the main contracts. Some of you may need to form partnerships to pick up those contracts. And a lot of you, I suspect, will be in line for subcontracts below the main contractor here. But it gives you an idea of the scale. Obviously, the turbine supply is a big one, and we're hoping to move as much of that from abroad to here as possible, and we can get into that in a bit more detail later on. And then another big figure here, I need to point out there is actually a mistake in your leaflet. on the operation and maintenance contract is actually 255 million over the 25-year life. We've got a figure of 35, so I apologise for that. And then last of all, so we've got the turbine supply, the civils work, the balance of plant work, the grid connection work, and then the operation and maintenance over the life of the project. And then there is quite a big area of supplementary areas of work which would involve security, maintenance, management, catering, all those sorts of things. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the main breakup of the contracts. Timescale. Now, we'd hope to be a little bit further on in the process than we are right now, but as many of you, you're probably aware, the planning process always takes a little bit longer than you hope for. The current situation is that we have effectively an approval from Neathport Talbot for their half of the project, and we are waiting for Rhondda and Taff, which should be sometime next month. And then the ultimate decision will come from the Department of Energy and Climate Change, because a project on this scale is still determined by DEC at the moment. So we have two sort of timescales, really. We're hoping for full planning consent by this summer. If that happens, we will begin the tendering process as soon as that occurs, and that will run then for a year, with the intention of beginning the construction proper in early 2013. And basically the construction programme is going to be a focused 2-year programme, but obviously the overall contracts will run on for longer than that, because they'll be finishing work and all that sort of thing, and then the ongoing maintenance and operation of the project. If we get held up in Rhondda and Taff, then we may have to go to public inquiry, which adds another year to the whole process. So we're hoping to avoid that, but that's where we are at the moment. So from our perspective, going forward with the steps, today it really is an overview of the project, an opportunity for you to register your interest and provide information to us about what your company does, details of that. We will create a database of companies. We will then feed back to you and communicate to you on an appropriate basis going forward as to when things are moving, when we start the tendering process, and all that sort of thing. So today, by filling in those forms, is an opportunity for you to stay connected with this opportunity that goes forward, so you don't miss out.